It is the 3rd of the 3rd, 2013. This is your Radioactive Reality. Day number 1088. Coming up on 3 years here real soon. Any news? Mystery solved, question mark. U.S. government expert. Large marine animals likely sense danger of Fukushima plume and fled. Quote, not going to wait until they start to die off. It explains unprecedented concentrations of whales and other sea life clustered just off the west coast. It's true, we've been reporting this on and on. It's not just the nuclear radiation leaching out of Fukushima. It's all the chemical soup and God knows what else that was swept out to sea during the tsunami that was the industrialized coastline that was Japan at the time. And no telling what's in this water, and it's splashing up against the coast now. Has been for quite a while. Mind-boggling cesium levels far from Fukushima plant. Japan Times, quote, health ministry in denial. Interview, quote, they forced us to forget everything. Government radiation levels, quote, complete fiction. Mass media is biggest criminal. Worse than TEPCO. We've been going on and on about this too. Fukushima is much worse than they will ever let us know. Even with the NSA documents that have been released due to the Freedom of Information Act. We've been going on and on about those as well. NBC in Washington, D.C. goes live with breaking news from Fukushima. Quote, troubling news out of Japan. Fish showing high levels of radiation, and some of that radioactive contamination could actually be hitting the U.S. in weeks. Why do they always say it's just a few weeks away? It's been here. What do you think all this mystery stuff with the diseases and the animal die-offs have been? Mystery. Emergency plan activated after massive crack found in dam near nuclear site. This is HanFord in Washington State. Serious problem, failure risk significantly high. The NOAA, quote, potential for rapid increase in flows. Flooding could release radioactive waste from HanFord. Now they've, I've read they're lowering the lake behind this dam by 20 feet so they can check this crack out and see if they can repair it or whatnot. The one beam that is cracked. Serious situation going on a continually serious situation that has been and will be HanFord radiation site. You got to remember they got all this stuff just dumped into open pits and big leaking double-line tanks, remember? It's been going on for decades, and that's just getting started too. Horrible medical mystery, alarming rate of birth defects in Washington State, babies missing parts of brain, skull, mother outraged at government, nurse, quote, it's very scary. Absolutely something's going on. Cluster surrounds most polluted U.S. nuclear site, yet never mentioned by media or officials. Of course not. They're going to blame everything but the nuclear industry. Everything but. Fox News anchor, quote, what a fantastical, incredible lie government told about Fukushima, and it's now reached the shores of North America. Quote, we knew and simply could not prove it. Been going on and on about it for 3 years. Here it comes. Report official backdrop on threat of public from the WIP leak. Now only, quote, pretty sure population centers are safe. They're only pretty sure. Group calling for outside help, independent scientists to collect radiation samples. A whole lot of crazy, shady stuff going on right now with this. TV fears in Texas Panhandle, quote, material could have been pushed up in this direction. They've got stuff stored down in this temporary depository. The barrel's only like 20-year shelf life. It's been 15 years into it. These salt domes, the walls actually do condense because they're so deep and there's so much pressure on them that they only last for so long. And they're doing test stuff down here, and one of these big salt chunks fell down on more than a couple of barrels, I would imagine. enough to blow the filters out when the plume was released, and when they said was a truck fire at first. So got to be very careful about what's going on. And again, the insanity continues. They're going to lie until they can't lie anymore. PBS engineers believe Fukushima nuclear fuel melted right through containment vessels where it's contracting groundwater. Quote, expert, the fuel melted down into the ground, as we've been reporting over and over and over again. They can't find it, let alone clean it up. They got to hijack homeless people to work at this place, who end up owing the Yakuza money for the pleasure of working at Fukushima. They charge so much to work there. Insane, the insanity. And you wonder why nothing's getting done. Fox News host, I think the Fukushima radiation leak is causing great harm. Oh shit. Quote, I just don't even know what to say to you. This is obvious. I do. No shit. At least 100 Navy responders are suffering. Way low number of the USS Ronald Reagan and all the support ships that go with the Reagan. It wasn't just the Reagan, folks. It wasn't just the Reagan. And they do this shit all the time. Massive die-off of oysters and scallops in the Pacific Northwest. What, here we go again? Big fucking mystery. Millions of shellfish dying, never seen anything like it. Quote, by July, monitoring hit 95 to 100%. Deformed shells smaller in size. Causes unknown, but ocean acidification is the main subject. The insanity continues. We don't know. Most likely, worst case scenario, wet whip. Of course, the ceiling collapsed onto these drums. Arnie Gunderson, nuclear core has disintegrated at Fukushima Unit Number 3. Japan energy expert, location of melted fuel for 3 reactors is unknown. It has never happened anywhere before. Most of this Number 3, remember, was a MOX fuel reactor operating illegally. It vaporized aerosol, and we're all breathing it in the northern hemisphere. We had a spike every 40 days for quite a while. It's not going away. It's in the air we breathe. It's in the food we eat. It's in the water we drink. New tests show plutonium reached millions of times normal level at WIP site. Big surprise. PVS Fluff Piece Special at Fukushima starts tonight with a rare look inside the plant. The NRC documents beg to differ. Hearst newspaper, bad news, Fukushima radioactive releases may be far greater than originally stated. You think? Bloomberg, levels significantly undercounted. Fairwinds, data they reported for nearly 3 years is wrong. Ashy interview, quote, politicians are hiding the dangers of radiation. It's no worse than eating a couple of bananas, right? How do these people sleep? CBC, radioactive particles arrive far earlier than predicted for the North America. It was here in a few days. Plume stretch 4,800 miles across the ocean. Now this is the ocean stuff. Experts, there's great alarm, legitimate concern, expected to dilute. Not really, but they really don't know. U.S. government monitoring beaches for debris from Fukushima nuclear disaster. They're monitoring that they were busing high school kids down there to help clean up. You tell me, West Coast, what's really going on over there? Officials, more may be affected by WIP radiation release than originally thought. It's a bigger plume than they thought. Hence, a very big collapse, not just a little one. Disturbing new development in WIP, radiation leaks, surprising words today. What went wrong and why? Those are some of the questions swirling around. And of course, this was just a big experiment to begin with. They were having problems keeping these storage rooms from collapsing upon themselves since the 80s. The insanity continues. I wonder how many fucking billions of dollars they spent on that. Most shocking thing is how U.S. government was very concerned about Fukushima radiation hitting the West Coast and affecting Americans. Public told everything is fine. Don't worry, folks. Everything's completely under control. Nothing will affect us here. You're safe. Enjoy your football, your NASCAR, your basketball, whatever. Expert government official, very possible. No, Fukushima is a worldwide disaster. And just not revealing it. I've been going on and on about this as well. Columnist, quote, they can't neglect the truth because they fear a panic outbreak. If everybody really knew what's going on, we wouldn't have any nuclear energy. I'm panicking because there isn't a panic. On beyond panic. New Snowden documents reveal government agents, quote, attempting to manipulate and control online discourse with deception and reputation destruction. Deliberately spreading lies on the internet. Oh my, there's a big surprise on YouTube, huh? Using false flag operations and emails to people's families and friends. They already think I'm crazy anyway. Good luck with that. Professor, quote, fish caught off the coast of America and of course near Hawaii have had high levels of cesium. We had scientists in Hawaii tracking radiation from Fukushima. And remember, when they say cesium, there's 1,300 radioactive isotopes and they're all together. It's not just one or strontium or whatever. Daily News Fukushima Diary. Contamination water is removed by hand digging of human workers. They just had another tank spill, of course. They're keeping these tanks at 98% level because they're running out of places to put it. And it's been reported over and over again. They're just dumping it into the ocean. They're just dumping this stuff into the ocean. Well, these tanks overflowed and these poor workers at Fukushima who are probably paying money to work there by the time they get charged for their food and their boarding and all of that, are now forced to pick up this water by hand because they can't get heavy equipment in up and around these tanks. The insanity continues. And no one's looking after these workers. No one. The government's rustling them up and they're shanghaiing them in there. You remember the Yakuza, the Japanese mafia, is running cleanup at Fukushima because they can't find anybody else willing to do it. This is the insanity we face every day. And it's all about money. It's all about profit. They don't care about you. EXSKF Blogspot, great site, check it out. 201 accidents at Fukushima number 1 nuclear power plant, question mark. No way, says worker at the plant. It's more like 1,000. Very interesting read. I highly recommend it. FukuLeaks.org, or simply info. They've got a report out, a bunch of good stories here as well. Whip workers union to independently test exposed staff. Of course, the company didn't inspect everybody properly, blah, 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 so the union's going to step in and try to protect its people. You know, this is going to go round and round in the courts forever and probably never get settled. The insanity continues. U.S. MOX fuel plant may be finally terminated. Check it out. This is good news, but not for the right reasons. We didn't do this. Fit News is reporting that U.S. MOX plant in South Carolina may finally be ending. The project has never had any customers lined up while building costs have increased almost tenfold. According to the report, the U.S. Department of Energy has sent a shutdown specialist to consult the facility to look at options for terminating the project. It's not profitable. That's the only reason they're shutting this down. The insanity continues. Over to finally today, world nuclear news. This is definitely a pro-nuclear shield site.